Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome along to the wilds of Suffolk. I'm out here yet again doing what I do, walking along in beautiful locations, and today is gorgeous, but the clouds are gathering on the horizon. The storm is almost upon us. If it's your first time here, welcome. I hope you enjoy what I'm doing today. If you're a returning subscriber, or 1,325 of you I think there are today, welcome one and all. It's an honor for me to have you here, especially after so long in between videos, and I do apologize. My life is not my own, it's hectic as hell. I'm working 7 days a week from 6 in the morning until 9 o'clock at night. And I've also had the flu for the past week, so I've only just really regained my voice, so I might have a coughing spasm halfway through this. Let's hope I can hold out. Let's hope the weather holds out while I get this done. So, welcome. Now, I'm entitling this video, "This is an intervention," okay? Now, for all of you regular people that normally join me for these walks in these wonderful places and the places near where I live, this video is designed for people who haven't heard the information I've been talking about before, for people that are sort of new to this or are questioning the reality that we're presented with. Let's put it that way. So, if you're new here, if this is the first time you've ever viewed this crazy channel, welcome for a start. But the whole idea of this video is that whoever's given you this video, and if you're a personal friend of mine, this video is for you to say that whoever's given you this video is showing their love for you by giving you this. Because as with any intervention, the people doing the intervention are trying to show their love for the person they're intervening in their life because they're worried about the path they're on. Okay? So that's what today's video is. It's an intervention, and it is, I'm talking about the reason I set up this whole channel from the start is to question the reality, of course, but to help those that I love, that are in my life, from making stupid decisions or bad decisions or poor decisions that are going to negatively impact them. Let's put it that way, okay? So, as we've waded through the last 3 years of complete bullshit, the lockdowns and, fabrications of news, fake news, all the information we've been bombarded with, and the division that we've lived in for all this time since with the first COVID's going to kill us all, that complete horseshit. We've got to this point now where in the last sort of week, no, actually it's been happening for a little while, but there's been a lot of information that's coming out that's poking holes in all the nonsense we've been told, okay? Now, I live here in the UK. This is Suffolk. This is the Suffolk coastline on the east coast of the UK, near where I live, not far away from where I live, and this is why I come out and do these talks and walks, because it's beautiful. And I don't want people to get sort of stuck in the notion that the only thing that we see is our screen, and I want you to see just how beautiful the world is, and it's an amazing place we live, but we can make it better if we're not constantly bombarded with this barrage of nonsense from people that don't care about us. And my message to you is that people do care about you, but it's not the ones who are running the show. It's the people around you that are trying to say to you, hey, stop for a second, stop throwing shit at me for a start, stop calling us names, and maybe listen to what we've got to say, because sometimes an alternate viewpoint, while not always right, will help you to evaluate things from your own perspective rather than just relying on a source of information that has so far not served you whatsoever in the last 3 years. Okay? Now, in this period over the past a few weeks, well, since Elon Musk bought Twitter, really, and information started to come from the Twitter files and exposing prominent people like Fauci for being the con man and the fraud that he is, fraudty really, and people like Matt Hancock, who in the UK government, who's just complete, I think his name says it all, Hancock, wanker. But anyway, as this information has started to come out, it's showing that all the division that was caused through politics, media, social media, search engines like Google, you know, and limiting information that we should all be entitled to, you know. That now that information is starting to trickle through, and it soon will become a flood. Drip, 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 flood. For those of you who know, you know. For those of you who don't worry, it will all become clear. Now, on Saturday the 4th, I think it was, there's a newspaper here in the UK called The Telegraph. They reported that the BBC had deliberately inflated numbers to keep Britain locked down at the behest of the UK government, with no science behind it whatsoever. We've had, I think it's the Cochrane report, that talked about the masks and how the masks did nothing. I mean, honestly, if you think that a piece of paper in front of your face is going to stop anything, look, there's one other thing I want to touch on before we move forward, okay? This is not beating up on the people that believed all that nonsense. It's not your fault, okay? We've been under a psychological operation, a military psychological operation for years now, and those psychological operations are designed to break you mentally, okay? It's not your fault. It was deliberate, and there was the most hardcore psychological operation ever perpetrated on members of the public in history. Worse than the propaganda during World War I and World War II, by far worse, because the applications of every single tool within the box, media, social media, you know, search engines, they all cooperated, and they all operated at the behest of criminals who were flat out lying to the public. That's you and me. That's everybody. Now, people like myself, you know, I admit, I'm the first to admit I'm a crazy conspiracy theorist. Crazy. Apparently, everyone tells me I'm crazy, but, you know, if you go back, and I've said it many times before, I don't do this channel for money. I'm not trying to sell you anything. This isn't about selling t-shirts or anything like that. It's nothing like that. I come out here, I speak my mind. I'm giving you my thoughts and opinions. That's all this is. My thoughts and opinions on what's going on in the world. And maybe those thoughts and opinions will help you question the reality that we've been presented with. You know, it's a different viewpoint, okay? Now, you see this collusion between state, private partnership, private-public partnership, they call it, private-public partnership, which in any other time or any other circumstance would be called fascism, okay? Where you have the government dictating to private companies the dictate that says, you will do this, okay? The dictate came from the very top. It's actually higher than what you think it is. It's not, we're talking presidents and prime ministers, because they're puppets on a string. That's all they are. They're puppets. And if you think they're actually doing anything, maybe have a look at that as well. They are literally puppets on a string. They're puppets to corporations. You know, like look in America, it's the same here as well, but in America, in order to run an election campaign, you need tens of or hundreds of millions of dollars to run that election campaign. Where do you think it comes from? It comes from corporate entities who donate money to political campaigns, hoping on the other end that their candidate wins, and they're going to win political favour, which means they maybe get rules passed that benefit them through, you know, lowering regulations on the EPA about what can be dumped into our oceans, the shit that can be pumped into our air that we have to breathe, and the garbage that gets sprayed onto our food that we have to eat. So the political pawns in all of this are controlled entities, okay? So you need to understand that. Now, Eisenhower, in his farewell speech when he left politics in the US, spoke of this, and he called it the military-industrial complex, okay? Now, the military-industrial complex is massive military organisations, and we're not talking the military as in the armies and the pow-pow-pow people. We're talking about the people that are creating weapons of mass destruction, weapons for the military. So you have Raytheon and all these kind of military companies that create weapons, create planes, create tanks. You with me? The weapons industry. Now, they control politics, okay? Because they get fed by the political masters. So, oh, we got to go to war in Iraq because they've got weapons of mass destruction, right? Which was all bullshit, of course. You know, they're the axis of evil. You know, George Bush, you know, I mean, the guy couldn't string a sentence together, but he was the Prime Minister, the President, sorry. The President of America after his daddy Bush. That's a funny family, the Bush family. Maybe if you're new to all this, maybe go and find out about Prescott Bush, what his role was in the previous war, World War II, what his role was. Turncoat, let me give it to you that way. These people instigate wars, just like what's happening in Ukraine right now. They instigate wars so they can sell more weapons, because America, certainly, and the UK and France and Germany and blah blah blah, the list goes on, make money out of warfare. So what they do is they start a war somewhere like Ukraine 2014, where they had a colour revolution that Victoria Newland was involved in deciding who was going to be running the country. So we have these, they call them power brokers, the politicians who are in the pocket, you know, the military industrial complex, through politics, through media. You know, there's only, I think it's like 10 companies or 10 individuals own all the media in the world. You know, it's all, Disney's owned by them, and that's owned by that, and that's owned by, it's a massive shell game, but at the end of the day, they're all owned by a very, very small number of people. So if you go and watch the news on one channel, and then go and watch the news on a different channel, it's almost word for word the same, almost identical. It's almost like they're working in lockstep. And if you're new to this again, go and look up Operation Lockstep. I'll leave it there. Now, when you have the media that has their 4 a.m. talking points, like I say, at the beginning of the day, the word goes out, this is the topic of the day, Trump is bad. Okay? Doesn't matter what he does, and I'm not pumping for Trump here, but my point is, have a look at how the media reports on Trump. Have a look at how the media reports on Uncle Joe, the potato Biden. The guy's a vegetable, honestly. But have a look at the difference in how they're reported on. Now, we're coming to this part in the news cycle. I've been talking about this for well over a year and a half, maybe 2 years, where I said we need war because we're at this point in the financial system's lifespan where it's coming to the end of its usefulness. There's so much debt in the system it can never be repaid, because how do you repay a debt with money that you don't have? Okay? So, you know, countries are saying, oh, you know, they're like, we'll stick with America for now. I mean, I could do the Britain, but, you know, people understand what's going on in America because it's widely reported. And what happens in America, because it has the world reserve currency, will happen to the rest of the world. So you need to understand the bigger picture of this. So, in America, it's like 32 trillion in debt. 32 trillion in debt. And they're spending like drunken sailors. They're spending like drunken sailors on a cocaine binge in a Thai brothel. Okay? Not that I know what that looks like. But they're spending all this money. We're sending another 4 billion. We're sending another, 10 billion. We're sending more weapons. You know, why would America be spending all this money that they don't have on a war in a different country that benefits No one. Now, you can be standing there saying, oh yes, but I support Ukraine. Okay, I support Ukraine as well. I support the people that are caught in the middle of this. They're caught in the middle of this nonsense. But the war is there for a reason. It's more than one reason, it's lots of reasons, but the war is there to hide the malfeasance behind what's been going on in Ukraine. Not by the people, by the clown in charge of it. And yeah, it's been a shitstorm since 2014. Now, if you want to doubt me or mock me or say, you don't know what you're talking about, Chris, you're an idiot, fair enough, I might well be. But I would say do your own research, but at this point, what are you going to research? Now, there was a film by Oliver Stone, the filmmaker, did a documentary called Ukraine on Fire. Okay? It's all about the Maidan Revolution, the colour revolution. It started in 2004, I think was the first part. 2014 or 13, end of 2013, beginning of 2014, I think it was. Go and watch it. Ukraine on Fire. See Victoria Nuland's role in it all. Then you can listen to audio tapes of Victoria Nuland speaking to the ambassador of Ukraine, telling him the selection, who they want in charge. Then you can go and listen to audio tapes of Joe Biden speaking to the president of Ukraine, telling him you need to shut down this Privat bank before Trump comes and finds out about it. Now, the reason I bring up the war in Ukraine, apart from it will be used to hide the financial collapse of the world, this unsustainable debt that is looming over everybody, it can't be paid. It can never be paid because the economies of the world are already failing. America's going down the pan faster than a freshly flushed turd. And that means businesses are closing, tax revenues are going down, and the only way that the government can pay its debt is with tax revenues coming in. So how is that debt ever going to be repaid? It needs to be written off, and that written off comes through a collapse in the system and a reset, the great reset that comes from the WEF, the World Economic Forum. Go and listen to a guy called Klaus Schwab. He sounds like a Bond villain. You will eat the bugs. No, I can't get the accents right today. I'm sorry, my throat's a bit scratchy. But Klaus Schwab, the head of the World Economic Forum, or the WEF, speaks about the Great Reset, as does our illustrious king now, or at the time Prince Charles, who by you need to understand this, was best friends with a paedophile called Jimmy Savile, and his brother best friends with another paedophile called Jeffrey Epstein. I'll leave that on the table, you can think whatever you want of that. But they spoke about this thing called the Great Reset, you know. And the Great Reset comes down to all this money going to climate change, which, if you're new to this as well, is another farce to extract money from your pocket and put it into somebody else's, like Al Gore. And if you think I'm joking about that, go and watch Al Gore's An Inconvenient Truth. Oh my God, An Inconvenient Truth, where all the predictions that were made in that movie, none of them came true. Not one, zero. But what he did was he scared people to go, oh my God, we have to act right now. And what he did was he set up a company that gave carbon credits. And you could buy your way to, oh well, I'm a good person like Bill Gates does. I fly around the world in a private jet, but I give some money to carbon credits, so that absolves me of all responsibility. Doesn't having all the money in the world just be a wonderful thing at that point where you can just buy you out of whatever you want? Much like all the politicians who get into problems with drink driving or drugs or underage prostitutes or maybe child pornography or whatever it is they're into, and they just use their money and their influence to buy their way out. Oh, money is such a wonderful thing. But the problem is that the scam is all coming to an end, and the debt that's on the table is going to go pop. We're going to be holding the bag, you and me, okay? Which is the reason I'm doing this video, okay? The intervention comes from, like, you know, if you've got a person, if you've got a friend or a family member, a loved one, you know, a cousin, it doesn't matter, someone that you love has got themselves into a situation where maybe they're addicted to drugs or whatever it is. They've got themselves in a really bad situation. Maybe they've got an abusive boyfriend, abusive girlfriend, or whatever it is. You have this intervention and you say to them, look, we love you and we care about you and we want something better for you. Now, all I'm trying to do is point out that over the last 3 years, if nothing else has given you time to view the world through the lens of the craziness that we've been living the last 3 years, have a look at the lies that we were told, what's being exposed through the media now, the same media that lied to us, by the way. The lies that have been told and the half-truths and the complete fabrications of things, because fear is a weapon that's being used against us. You know, if you make people fearful, they'll give up their rights and their privileges and their rights, their sovereignty, their God-given rights. And if you don't believe in God, that's fine too. But you were born a free and sovereign person, and no one can impinge on that. No one can take away your rights as an individual and sovereign person to make decisions for yourself because they say that they have power over you. Like our illustrious Prime Minister here making our decisions for us, Rishi Sunak, worthless piece of garbage, making decisions for us, the British people, but never having had a vote. He has no mandate from the people. And he's like, well, the British public are behind me. Okay, then why haven't we had a vote to elect you, Rishi Sunak? Or the last clown that we had, Liz Truss. Liz Truss, absolutely brainless moron. And that'll probably get me banned for saying it, but truly, the woman is diabolical. We never voted for her either. They just decided, oh, well, you're the Prime Minister now. It's like pulling names out of a hat, like a chook raffle as we have in Australia. Okay, who's going to win tonight? Who's going to win the chicken? Oh, look, it's Liz Truss. You get to run the country and give 40 billion? Yeah, 40 billion of taxpayer money out to the oil companies because they're raising the prices. We've got to get them to lower the price. Even then, they're making record profits. What? The energy suppliers here in the UK making record profits while at the same time putting up the prices by 400%. So when we're talking an intervention, I'm saying to you, the person who's given you this video to watch is saying to you, I love you, I care about you, and I want you to see the world differently than what you are. You're hurting yourself by listening and complying with psychopaths who don't care about you. They have no compassion, they don't care, it's their agenda, and that's it. Now, what we've lost over many lifetimes, over many generations, is our ability to understand where the power lies in this world. Okay? We have a group of psychopaths and sociopaths running the world, but they're a small number. Oh yes, Chris, but they have the armies behind them. Now those armies are representative of the people that they're supposed to guard and defend. Your brothers, your sisters, your mothers, your aunties, your uncles, your relatives are in the military to defend the nation that you come from. Now, people think that those same people are going to fire on their own people, should the government tell them to do so. They won't. They won't. And if a foreign force comes into the country to try and force the will of unelected bureaucrats from organisations like the UN or the World Bank or the World Economic Forum, if those outside organisations send a military force in, then who's going to fight on our behalf? That'll be our military. It's there to defend the nation. Okay? The real power lies with the people. We get to say how we want to live. Now, the problem is that the messaging that we've had for so long has been telling people complete fabrications, lies on top of lies on top of lies on top of lies, and using fear tactics to get you to make poor decisions, like wearing a thing over your face thinking it's going to stop anything, or having things stuck in you, 100% safe and effective, remember, that did nothing. except made people sick. And a friend of mine recently, 2 weeks ago now, died of a heart attack. Died suddenly in the middle of the night. Nothing wrong with him. As have many, many people around the world. Had relatives, friends, family. I know 3 people personally that 2 have had heart attacks and 1 has myocarditis. Okay, that's 3 heart issues just with people that I know. Okay, 2 had heart attacks, 1 died, 1 was probably still only around because I forced him to have some aspirin. And the other one, the myocarditis one, she's alive, but she's going to have heart problems for the rest of her life. From something 100% safe and effective. Effective at what? Now, the only reason that people did that in the first place is because they were fearful. And they wanted to do the right thing by the people around them. They want to be part of society, an active, good member of society by taking part in something that they thought they were doing the right thing. So like I say, it's not your fault. You were coerced and you were forced. Now, I did a video a long time ago about the Nuremberg Code. If you don't know what the Nuremberg Code is, go and read about it. I'm not going to give it to you again, or go and watch my video. It was a while, 2 years ago, I think, talking about the Nuremberg Code, what it stands for, what it is, where it came from, why it came into being. And it's all about medical experimentation. And the first cab off the rank is that no one can be forced into any experimentation. Can't be coerced or forced. But yet, what happened across the world? Now, I'm making this video because I want people to understand, you know, I've been called every name under the sun, and maybe you were one of those people too, that's called people like me names, or because you were scared and you didn't understand the consequences of what was happening, and you didn't understand the psychological operations that were being foisted on you through the government, through the media, through social media, through search engines, through the AI, and through the military-industrial complex that wanted you to partake in an experiment, a psychological operation, using fear as a weapon. Now, what's happening now is this ramp up to war. China, Taiwan, Russia, Ukraine, you know, the more weapons, no talk of peace anywhere, and it is yet another psychological operation. Now, I've spoken about this many times before. I'll go through this last bit quickly because we've got to get to the end of this video. You need to understand that what you're coming into contact with, the things that are permeating your mind, is influencing your reality. Because, believe it or not, you create your reality with how you interact with the world. Okay? Now, if all you're seeing is negativity and bullshit coming into you, what do you think you're going to create? What's going to happen? What are you going to focus more on in your life if all you're hearing is war, famine, doubt, fear, fear, fear? You know, if that's all you're hearing, that's what we're creating. The message here in this intervention is I'm trying to intervene between that pressure and that bullshit that's being force-fed down our throats from all these entities, you know, the military, the media, the governments, all these people that are trying to enforce this message through all their systems and the shadow banning and all that kind of garbage that they do to reinforce the message that you need to be fearful. And the only way that we can get through this is to rely on a corrupt government that has no care about you, that actually wants you dead. And if you listen to the words they say, they'll tell you there's too many people in the world. They say it out loud. There's too many people in the world, and they want to reduce carbon. That we need to reduce the carbon dioxide. There's too many people in the world. You're the carbon that they want to reduce. And who gets to decide who lives and dies? Now, the intervention here today is to me trying to intervene and say, stop listening to what they say. Stop complying with the nonsense. Don't believe them. They are lying to you. The person who gave you this cares about you, or the person who is in my life that I'm giving this to, I care about you. The people who are trying to help you are sharing information that runs counter to what they're telling you. Don't believe the nonsense, the hype and the bullshit. We're in control. We have the power, and all we have to do is stand against it and say, no, no more. That's the intervention. We have to realize our power in ourselves and join together to say, no, I will not comply, I do not stand with this, and I'm not going along with your bullshit narrative anymore. So it's up to us all. Hopefully you took something from this, and if you did, share it around, like it, share it, do whatever you want to do with it. I'm not forcing you into anything. You get to decide what you do with it. It's up to you. Now, as always, what I always finish off with these messages is I love and care about everyone that joins me in these walks, and thank you so much for the support and all the kind messages that I've got through Telegram and everywhere, just in the support, and say thank you to everyone who's been here all this time and the people who are brand new to this. So go out into the world and do good and be good, and you can change the world with the way that you talk, the way that you think, the way that you interact with the reality that we're experiencing. So do that. We can change the world. So thanks one and all for joining me. Have a wonderful day. Look after yourself. Look after each other. And I look forward to seeing you real soon. Ciao for now.